Assalamualaikum to Dr. Mas. I'm Syazawaria binti Kamal, metric number 261668. I will talk about the introduction. First of all, why we choose this topic is because we want to study the extent to which transportation issues in Malaysia and Indonesia have a significant impact on people, the environment, the country, and relation with neighboring countries. There are some objectives that are highlighted in this study. The first objective is to study whether Malaysia or Indonesia use more transportation. The second objective is to analyze the effect of air pollution on life on Earth due to the increasing use of transportation in the country. The third objective is to identify ways to solve the problem of air pollution involving the governments of Malaysia and Indonesia. So the transportation means is the technology that created to move an object from one place to another place. Before this, a human being can move to another place without the need for transportation by walking or swimming, but the level of human accessibility is limited and requires external support. For the example, in ancient times, animals such as camel, horses and donkeys were used as transportation for humans and goods, but in time they have changed. In era of globalization, there is a modern transportation, which is motor vehicle such as cars, motorcycles, planes, trains, buses, taxis and others. In Malaysia, 31.2 million units of vehicles are used, while in Indonesia, more than 100 million units of vehicles are used by human beings. So that because of using more vehicle, airspace in that country getting worse and effects endanger human health, threaten natural resources and ecosystem, and interfere with environmental amenities and consumption. So in this study, there is one theory that related with transformation issue in Malaysia and Indonesia that cause air pollution, which is theory of constructivism. This theory explains above the individual, positive freedom and international cooperation. Then a new version of constructivism can be defended because it pays enough attention to society and the interaction of nature. This is because society is always interfering in nature and the end result of such a historical process is transformation nature to a more environmentally friendly human environment. Hence, realistic constructivism allows us to highlight its determinants of socio-natural interaction. So, with the theory of constructivism, Malaysia and Indonesia can cooperate together to reduce air pollution in both airspace so that the environment can recover and human and other living things can breathe with fresh air. So that there are several elements in this theory which is norm, ideas, values, group and states. Then conflict and cooperation are product of values and belief between states in this theory. Then in this theory, human rights are highly emphasized if faced with a problem with another country. Thus, related to the issue of air pollution involving Malaysia and Indonesia can be linked to the human right to life in clean and comfortable air. So this constructivism theory is very important in explaining cooperation between countries in solving a problem related to human rights that can be claimed. That's all from me. I will pass to another presenter. Thank you.
Next, I will discuss about pollution between Malaysia and Indonesia. Every developing country suffers from air pollution. This is a phenomenon that often occurs along with uncontrolled development in a country. As Malaysia is Indonesia's close neighbor, the issue of air pollution that Malaysia often faces is the issue of cross-border haze pollution. Cross-border haze pollution is one form of pollution that can be defined as pollution that originates from one country but can cause damage to the environment of another country when pollutants are transported by air across national borders up to hundreds and thousands of kilometers from their source. In the context of cross-border haze in Malaysia, it is undeniable that forest burning activity in Indonesia for land clearing and farm opening are the main contributors to this problem. Indonesia has been practicing this cutting and burning activity for a long time, causing this problem of cross-border haze to continue to this day. Besides, the issue of air pollution because of transportation has also been faced by both countries given the rapid development of urbanization and the economy. Besides, transportation also has become one of the prominent environmental problems that contribute to local and global problems. My next point is air pollution affects human health at various ages. Individual responses to air pollution vary depending on the type of agent exposed, the level of exposure, and the state of health, and a person's genetic factor. Air pollutants can cause a variety of health effects from biochemical and psychological change to difficulty breathing, coughing, and heart disorder. Air pollution results in poor air quality, which in turn will affect the quality of health as it has an impact on the health of the lung and the entire respiratory system. Furthermore, air pollution also occurs due to the transport sector where there is a discharge of transport smoke. Air pollution from motor vehicles is caused by exhaust emissions. Exhaust emissions are the result of the burning of fossil engines released by cars, trucks, buses, and other heavy and non-exhaust vehicles are like dust from brakes and tires. This produces a cocktail of pollutants consisting of particulate matter of various sizes such as fine and coarse particulate matter, carbon black, ozone gas, and nitrogen dioxide. Exposed to traffic air pollutants can have adverse effects on health, especially at risk, including children, the elderly, as well as individuals working outside the building area, such as traffic police, food hawkers, and construction workers. So that air pollution caused by increased forest burning and emission of transport smoke that occur in Malaysia and Indonesia has had a huge impact on the country and citizens. That's all from me. Thank you.
Next, I will continue the other part, which is the possible way to solve the air pollution. As we know, Malaysia and Indonesia is a developing countries. Therefore, their risk for air pollution to occur is very high. This is because these two countries are developing their countries through industry sectors and also many vehicles are being used. There are several actions that government can do to reduce the air pollution. Firstly, the way to solve the air pollution is government can implement tax for petrol and carbon. As we know, the consumer of carbon and petrol are very high not only in Malaysia and Indonesia but also in many other countries around the world involved in the excessive use of petrol. Therefore, the government can implement tax on petrol and carbon to reduce excessive consumption of petrol and carbon and switch it to wise use. This is because when taxes are imposed on petrol and carbon, the consumer and the producing must pay the full social cost.
When they have to pay the full cost of petrol and carbon, the air pollution will be reduced because they will expect their money will waste. Secondly, the possible way to reduce air pollution is developing and implementing modern air pollution control policy. This policy can be done by the Department of Environment for both countries. In this policy, factory emission and exhaust emission are determined only by the authority. This is because to monitor the activity. Therefore, the smoke will not release excessively as it will cause the air pollution. Both countries need to do this policy because Malaysia and Indonesia always facing the bad haze that cannot be controlled. In addition, at the municipal level, local public transport and non-motorized transport also must be promoted. In addition, walking activity campaign can also be introduced. Besides that, the government can implement the rule and regulation in both countries to reduce the air pollution. The regulation that can be done by government is set a limit to the amount of pollution released into the air. For example, factory smoke, excessive use of vehicles and so on. This regulation was done in London by the European Union to curb the air pollution in London. Therefore, it can reduce the air pollution. Other than that, in the 1950th century, the Clean Air Act 1956 was very effective in reducing the visible smoke from cities such as London. The Act banned the burning of coal in domestic homes in major cities. Hence, Malaysia and Indonesia also can take the regulation. After that, both governments also must ensure the society follow this rule and regulation very effectively to reduce the air pollution. Fourthly, the policy that Malaysia and Indonesia can do is government partnership between both countries. This is because the air pollution is happen in the airspace between Malaysia and Indonesia. The state is responsible for implementing this cooperation to prevent the occurrence of more serious air pollution. This is because Western countries like California have done this cooperation to get good air quality. Each country must significantly prohibit air emission to deal with air quality problem between countries. One of the policy that both countries can implement is pollution permit. The purpose of this pollution permit is to encourage companies to reduce the quantity of pollution. Hence, the cause of air pollution, such as chemical and smoke, will not release into the air. Finally, apart from the above action that the government can take, the government must also ensure that human behavior can be changed to curb the occurrence of air pollution. For example, the government can carry out awareness campaign to the people in the countries. Furthermore, according to the article by United States Environmental Protection Agency 2018, the government also can make a sign of the engine first while picking up the kids from school and also encourage them to walk and use the public transport. This will reduce the amount of the car smoke and can reduce the risk of air pollution. In addition, the government can also implement a campaign to plant trees outside the home for each individual to increase the number of trees so that the air stays fresh. Therefore, with this possibility, I believe the risk of air pollution will occur can be handled more easily.
I will explain about on how to solve the problem. Indonesia is one of the states that have bad air pollution every year. In Indonesia, air quality is not a new issue. One of the cases in Jakarta is pollution from nearby coal-fired power plant is choking the people of Jakarta, reducing their life expectancy by year and rendering the city one of the world's most polluted capital. That makes Jakarta an outlier among the major world cities, with air quality improving dramatically in line with a general reduction in urban activity in those cities. This means that Jakarta air pollution doesn't only come from inside the city. One of the best solutions of air pollution is implement of Afforestation is the method by which trees and
tree seedlings are introduced to a region has not been forested before. Afforestation can be carried out naturally by tree planting and seeding. Similarly, it is possible to regard reforestation as a form of afforestation. Reforestation is the modification through tree planting and seeding of a non-forested area to a forested area. The difference is that reforestation is the rehabilitation of a deforested environment. This could be a viable choice for sequestering more carbon from the environment by planting a new young growth forest in an area that had not historically had a forested one. Planting trees in a previously environment, however, could adversely affect the original ecosystem, such as decreasing soil moisture in an area and causing many species to abandon their preferred habitat. Next, there are several benefits implement afforestation. One of the benefits is to help the environment, especially the air pollution. On certain cases, planting tree in a barren field is more effective than planting tree in depleted forest. It helps to preserve the biodiversity of the region by planting tree in a degraded or recovering forest, but planting tree in barren land helps to establish a new ecosystem. To help revert the arid and semi-arid area to productive area, most government and institutions have used afforestation. It also tends to enhance the look of picturesque area of barren ground. People are less likely to suffer from air-related illness in place with tree. Tree purify carbon dioxide and by photosynthesis give oxygen. Over the past few decades, humans have created more and more carbon dioxide from their activities such as driving, burning fossil and manufacturing activity, resulting in more carbon dioxide in the air. In short, Indonesia has to implement the tree to prevent air pollution. This is because Indonesia has recorded the highest air quality in 2019. The growing population in Indonesia is one of the causes of air pollution. The increase in population has caused motor vehicles to be used on the roads. Excessive tree planting can help the country get oxygen and reduce carbon dioxide. The government of the country needs to take an action to ensure that air pollution can be reduced.
In conclusion, Malaysia and Indonesia need to be responsible in addressing the issue of air pollution caused by motor transport and emitting gases such as carbon monoxide gas. So, the constructivism theory that related to international relations can unite these two countries to work together to restore a space free of pollutants. Is this because the air pollution gives a negative effect on health as well as other elements on this earth, including the country? So there are 5 possible ways to reduce the air pollution, which is implement tax for petrol and carbon, implement modern air pollution control policy, implement the rule and regulation in both countries, government partnership between both countries, and ensure that human behavior can be changed. Lastly, one of the best solutions for the air pollution is implement of afforestation. That's all from my group. Thank you.